monthly meeting, and we would like to have a technical session by Dr. Kashyap, and we welcome Dr. Kashyap, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Our chairman, Mr. Manjunatha, please. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your gesture.
Just look at
your energy in this for trying to educate us, and
I try my best.
yes, we're very honored to have you here.
Yes, sir. Done, sir. Done. Thank you.
We also would like to welcome Mrs. Kashyap.
Oh yes.
It's a pleasure to have you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. We would like to welcome Dr. Chandrasekhar, sir. Mr. Chandrasekhar, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we also would like to thank Dr. Siddaraju for his full energy, being the past chairman, but still he's very into it. Dr. Kashyap. So he would just brief us about his.
Dr. Kasyap sir is my, one single word is my guru in research. We have learned many things from us. Sir, for those who are new, I'll read out the biodata of Dr. T Kashyap sir. Sir has completed his Doctor of Philosophy in Materials Engineering from Drexel University, USA, Master of Science in the year 1983, Materials Engineering, University of Wilkinson, Madison, USA, Bachelors of Engineering from Bangalore University. And sir's professional experience goes as it is. From 2017, sir is associated with Siddaganga Institute of Technology. From August 2016 to 17, sir was a professor in Jain University. Before that, sir was a professor in Adria Institute of Technology. And 2006 to 14, sir was a professor at PS Institute of Technology. And 2001 to 6, sir was a professor at MSRIT Institute of Technology, where we and many of our classmates we would appreciate sir for his efforts and teaching us basics related to research. And also, we would like to mention that sir had worked in HL for a duration 1997 to 2000 in Foundry and Forge division, and 1993 to 1997 at Vikram Sarabhai Space ISRO Trivandrum, and 1992 to 93 sir was a postdoctoral student in the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Now also sir is associated with many research activity with IISc, and 1984 to 86 sir was at Foundry and R&D head for Kasyap Engineering and Materials Private Limited, Bangalore, which sir's father was also was owning it. And the next 1983 to 84, sir was a foundry manager at Shanti Non-Ferrous Casting Private Limited, Coimbatore, India. And sir has got many fundings. We started with our MSRIT with 20 lakhs. He has got it for synthesis and characterization of aluminum carbon CNT, which was the first to synthesize CNT in the private institute, Ramaya. At the time, ASC were also working on the area. And DRDO funding of 25 lakhs for synthesis and characterization of carbon nanocomposites. And ISRO project, sir has got a PSAT strengthening of aluminum 6061 CNT composites, and for a tune of 14 lakhs. And sir has got a funding from BTU also for computer simulation of microstructure, 4 lakhs. And in the year 2019 also sir has got funding of tune of almost 75 lakhs in the year 2019. For it is very difficult to get a funding of 75 lakhs, which sir has achieved it. Effect of silver addition on stress corrosion cracking resistance of aluminium alloy A87085. And sir has very interest in teaching material science and metallurgy, theory of metal forming, composite materials, smart materials, and we were fortunate to listen to you in advanced material technology as well as composite materials. And current and past interests Sir has in recrystallization in aluminum alloy, copper and aluminum based nanocomposite, Monte Carlo simulation which sir has worked along with our K.R. Manish sir, professor in our department, and texture in metals and alloys is favorite topic, and casting and solidification. And sir is a reviewer for many international journals which are nowadays institutes are focusing on Q1, Q2 journals. Those journals are here. Sir was a reviewer long back. Journal of Alloys and Compounds elsewhere, Material Science and Engineering, Material Science and Technology, Material Science and Engineering, and Progress in Natural Science, Materials Engineering elsewhere, Materials and Materials Transaction, Journal of Nanoparticle Research, Spinger. And thesis advisor he was for our HOD Rajit George, sir was a guide for that, and topic was synthesis and characterization of aluminum carbon nanocomposites, and sir was a guide for one of the principal of college Rajarajeshwari, T Chandrasekhar sir, on the topic grain refinement and in aluminum alloys, who is now working as a principal. K.R. Manish sir, along with him, sir has worked on recent topic that is on computer related simulation, grain growth, simulation studies using Monte Carlo approach, and sir has published highly reputed journals of 46 and contributed book chapters as well as presented papers in many international conferences. The list goes long, but you should listen to sir for his many of his research intent which will provoke the youngsters like Shiv Kumar and others. So in this I would like to welcome all of you for the sir's lecture. No diocese.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. Okay, we will
Please keep the questions to the end. We are recording this talk and it will be given for all IIF members.
Okay, today's lecture, as pointed by Dr. Siddaraju, is on effect of biofilms on castings. A lot of people, businessmen are here, they know about biofilms, so we will talk about it. Next slide. I would like to start with the shloka from Isavasya Upanishad. It's in Yajurveda. And the shloka runs, mantra 2 runs as Om Isavasya Idam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat Tera Tektera Bhunjita Ma Gruda Kasyap Dhanam. What it means is everything is Brahman, both moving and unmoving. Everything is Brahman. How to achieve the state? The state is the third pada of the sloka. It means that Tera Bhunjita. That means enjoy with renunciation. It's like eating a banana. When you peel off the skin, you eat only the fruit. The skin goes out. That's enjoy with renunciation. Do not covet anybody's wealth. That's the fourth pada of a shloka. It's a fantastic shloka. I've cherished all along, a long time, and read Upanishads past 20 years. And I'd like to talk about my wife. She's doing Gita chanting and Gita shlokas understanding to a lot of students of Vedanta. My T Kashyap, my wife, she's contributing in that field. Okay. And now I'd like to just say the shloka which Professor Oppenheimer from Los Alamos Research Laboratories, when United States developed the first nuclear bomb in 1947, Professor Oppenheimer ignited the first nuclear device in the world. So he chanted one shloka from Gita. It's Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Nanirbhavati Bharata Abhyudanam Adharmasya. I will just
Tadatmanam Sujamyam.
Tadatmanam Sujamyam. My wife is an expert in all the 18 chapters of Gita. Okay, so with that we'll start. first of all, my T Kashyap, my wife, and my two children, daughters, Rashmi Kasyap and Charvani Kasyap, for standing with me for the past 20 years on my career in research. They have sacrificed a lot. And you may know, you may understand or you may not, but they have sacrificed a lot in my research career. And I'd like to thank Indian Institute of Foundrymen for giving me this opportunity to talk about this subject. And Dr. Siddaraju of MSRIT, who's my leading exponent in teaching and research at MSRIT. Entrainment defects. What are bifilms? First of all, let me understand with you what bifilms are. In aluminum alloys, for example, when you melt aluminum, you have a surface oxide film, aluminum oxide. That oxide film, when you pour it into the mold cavity, they get folded up. It's called furling. They furl up and get entangled in the interdendritic areas of the casting. Everything is dendrites in solidification. The flat interface or liquid interface breaks down into a cellular interface or a dendritic interface. So the bifilms will get furled and get entrapped in the interdendritic areas. Those are called entrainment defects when bifilms get into the mold cavity in the casting. Now, the problem begins during unfurling. It leads to porosity and like gas porosity, shrinkage, hot caves, all the defects in castings are from unfurling of the bifilm. And that's how I understand it. Okay, next I just talk about next slide. Yeah. Oh yeah. This is I just want to touch upon in certification the breakdown of a flat interface, planar front of a solid liquid interface into a cellular or a dendritic interface. One of the criterion is called constitutional supercooling. What happens in constitutional supercooling is a bump like that forms. The pump. You can see a pump. Now there's a negative thermal gradient in the liquid ahead of the interface. So that supercools. The pump sees more undercooling in front of it. So it grows rapidly in a negative temperature gradient. What if the gradient is positive? Next slide. Yeah. If the gradient is positive, Next one. Yeah, this one.
Pointer on
Pointer. Oh yeah. I have a problem. It is pointing the this figure down. Yeah. That figure. And now TR is the thermal gradient in the liquid. It's a positive temperature gradient. Now the slope of the curve, you can see it's a liquidous temperature gradient. In the phase diagram, suppose you take a eutectic phase diagram, the liquid is slow. I don't know if you can visualize, or should I draw it to explain that? Oh, better I draw it. And this is the eutectic phase diagram, AB. And the y-axis is temperature. Okay. This is a liquidus curve. This is a solidus. This is a solidus. Okay. So if you have a liquidus, that gradient is this liquidus temperature gradient. Liquidus temperature gradient. And now if the thermal gradient is below that, then is what is known as supercooling. If a bump forms, for example, a bump on the solid liquid interface, if it forms, the bump is more undercooling. The bump, for example, that solid is the bump, we will see more undercooling. The interface breaks down into a cellular interface, and that's due to solute rejection at the interface. Solute gets rejected, then there's a buildup of solute, and there's a concentration gradient. There's a small diffusion layer ahead of the interface. That's the reason why constitution supercooling occurs, and the interface breaks down into a cellular or a dendritic interface. Once again, there will be a solute rejection. So this also forms a pump. And that's a dendrite. The classical dendrite is a coniferous tree, if you like. A coniferous tree is a Christmas tree. We celebrate Christmas with a Christmas tree, and we draw a gift. That Christmas tree is dendrite. And that's how dendrite looks in the cash structure. And that's due to constitution supercooling. Next slide, please. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is a classical paper which Dr. Siddaraju downloaded for me. It's called Mullins-Sakarka analysis. What it says, they talk about perturbation theory. Next slide, please. Yeah. And this is a sinusoidal perturbation. Sinusoidal perturbation on a flat interface. You can see the amplitude growing up into the perturbations. For example, you can see the small, just point on the first perturbation. The amplitude is increased. This is later in time. Yeah, that's lesser in time. And so, as time progresses, the amplitude goes on increasing. A lot of mathematics in this. It's a rigorous analysis by Mullins and Sakarka in Pittsburgh. And they mathematically derived it in 1969, 1970 paper. It's a classic in certification. And so, the mathematics is spherical harmonics, which I'm not going to go into right now. We worked on that in percent. Myself and my students, we worked on the analysis in soft impingement, made a theoretical analysis of Mullins and Sakarka paper, and then submitted it to a journal in the United States, in Material Science and Engineering. It got published long back. So that's a story about perturbation theory. Next slide, please. Thank you. This shows the stability in the Mullins and Sakarka analysis. The radius, the y-axis, is the radius of the solid particle. And then this is supersaturation on the x-axis. You can see In some regions, it becomes unstable. Stability and instability. This is what happens in next slide, please. This shows the spherical particle which undergoes perturbation. Next slide, please. Yeah. Okay. Now we get back to entrainment and how air or gas gets entrapped in a bifilm. So that gets entrapped. You can see the entrapment in aluminum alloy, for example. It's susceptible for hydrogen dissolution. So the hydrogen it gets entrapped in the bifilm, and when the bifilm unfurls, there is a hydrogen porosity, which deteriorates all the properties. That's a landmark. Next slide, please. Oh yeah, this is once again a bifilm with gas, and you can see unfurling and how gas bubbles are formed during unfurling of the bifilm. The bifilm is nothing but a folded oxide film. When it unfurls, the problem begins in castings. That's a famous book written by John Campbell on castings, the new metallurgy of castings, written by John Campbell in England. He is in the University of Birmingham. He has worked profusely on bifilms in England for a long time, and he's published a lot of papers and books. Books are also available. He's written a book called John Campbell Castings. Next slide, please. Oh yes, this shows the cracks in the bifilm. This aluminum 7 silicon 0.3 magnesium alloy is just close to 8356. The convoluted bifilm, and the bifilm unfurls, and you can see fissures. Fissures or cracks. This deteriorates all the properties of the casting. Next slide, please. This is the cracked micro bubbles. Oh yeah, it's the same stuff. Next slide, please. Oh yeah, there's scanning electron micro crack of a folded bifilm, and they've captured it in scanning electron microscope. Next slide, please. Oh yeah, this is a bifilm, which is once again you can see a crack being formed in the unfurling stage. Next slide, please. Oh yes. Yeah. This is a schematic of a bubble tray. Oh yeah. About bifilms entrapping gas. Next slide, please. Oh yes. Once again, these bubbles are collapsed in the unfurled bifilm. You can see gas porosity. A lot of cracks and voids due to the gas. The entrapped gas inside. Next slide, please. Yes. Now, these are pores. How I suppose you don't have any defects in the casting, 100% strength, and then once you introduce bifilms, properties drop. And this such a big void in the casting is very susceptible for failure. Next slide, please. Oh yes. Oh, this. This is a dendrite. The bottom slide shows a Christmas tree and a bifilm in the interdendritic regions. You can appreciate that. What happens to bifilm. Next slide, please. Oh yeah, this is a very nice picture, schematic of a dendrite. They're trying to straighten a bifilm. You can see a bifilm furled in and entrapped within interdendritic regions, and how the dendrites, there's a breakdown of a flat interface into a dendrite. Dendrites try to push the bifilm and straighten the bifilm. Next slide, please. Oh yeah, this is a radiograph of a reduced pressure test to check the gas content of aluminum or whatever it is. And then you can see porosity in the bottom tank. That's due to bifilms. And the top one, less porous. Next slide, please. The effect of bifilm properties. You can see the proof stress versus grain width. And that goes like that. And it drops down in the schematic down. So the proof stress drops with bifilms. Next slide, please. Oh yes, this shows the in-gate feeder and in-gates. Or what I would like to point out, which I saw long back, 40 years ago, when I was working in my father's company, is that in the gating system, you have two ratios. 1:4:4 is a pressurized gating. 1:4:10 is a non-pressurized gating system. If you use non-pressurized, the bifilms are reducing. What happens is, basically, when there is turbulence in the molten aluminum, for example, when you reduce turbulence, the bifilm density decreases. For example, 1:4:10 is one is a screw exit diameter area, and 4 is the runner cross-sectional area, and 10 is the total in-gate area. If you have unpressurized system, that leads to very good results. And you can see how elongation drops with the bifilms, UTS, approved class, elongation, reduction in area, everything drops with bifilms. And dendrite arm spacing, normally we talk about, for example, Brody and Flemings. A lot of people have worked on the Flemings, was a star in America, working on dendrites and castings, and he observed that as you reduce the dendrite arm spacing, the strength goes up. That's because of reduced bifilms. If you try to reduce the dendrite arm spacing, the bifilm density is going to reduce, and then properties increase. That's what the slide says. Next slide, please. Oh yes. Oh yes. This is oh yes. This will skip. Next slide. Oh yeah. This is a layer porosity. How porosity will decrease all the values. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is ductility and second phase particles. How the second phase is also second phase particles. What happens if you have plates like beta, ALFE, iron-rich phase? In fact, IC, when I was in ISU doing postdoc, one of my colleagues, Murali, now he's in Singapore, making a lot of money, and he was working on 356, and we used to have plates, beta ALFASI. I've seen cracks on the plates. Those plates were engulfed in a bifilm. At that time, we had not heard about bifilms. In fact, all the publications, we published it without knowledge of bifilms. Bifilms came into existence only about 20 years ago. And John Campbell's far-reaching work in Birmingham, in England. Next slide, please. Oh yes. Yeah, this also shows how bifilms decrease properties in aluminum copper magnesium alloy. They're cast alloy. Next slide, please. Oh yes. Now we come to the favorite subject of Siddaraju, topics of related interest. And what I want to touch upon is a list of all the topics. And first and foremost, I listed down spheroidal decomposition. Spheroidal decomposition is actually like a perturbation. Like a perturbation. What happens is the concentration will increase with time. In spheroidal, if you are a substrate, there is a sinusoidal fluctuation and there is an uphill diffusion. In fact, I wrote a classic paper on small angle scattering of GP zones in aluminum copper magnesium alloy 2219. No, I'm sorry, it's not aluminum copper magnesium, it is aluminum copper alloy 2219, which my friend in Bangalore, Dr. Yeshwanthpur, gave the samples to me at 2219. So that shows GP zones decompose the early stages by spheroidal. There is an uphill diffusion. That's the landmark. When you work out the mathematics spheroidal decomposition, you can see the diffusion coefficient is negative. That means there is an uphill diffusion. Normally, diffusion is down the concentration gradient. The concentration is this x. Normally, it occurs downhill. There is a flux. There is a flux of solid. But in spheroidal, there is an uphill diffusion. It goes uphill. That's the landmark. It's crazy. I bet that's the truth. You have to believe me if you don't. So that uphill diffusion causes decomposition. Into GP zones or whatever. Linear crescent zones are the first stage in the precipitation sequence. For example, aluminum copper alloy, when you solutionize it, quench it, and age it, first the formation is by linear crescent zones. Junior was the French scientist who discovered it long back, and then by Preston in England, who also saw the same thing by X-ray diffraction. So that's GP zones. GP zones, metastable precipitates and equilibrium precipitates. Metastable precipitates are also very important because most important in strengthening alloys is coherency. Then the coherency is straight. What happens is, for example, I'll get a bit wrong. If you have atoms like this, this is a GP zone, the matrix is this, like aluminum, there's a strain in the lattice. There's a one-to-one matching of the matrix crystallographic planes with the GP zone crystallographic planes. So there is a coherency. There's a coherency, strain field. What happens to, so what you say? So what, you have a coherency strain field. But coherency strain field is provides dislocation diagrams. The dislocations, I don't know if you heard of that, dislocations in crystals are edge or screw or mixed here. So the dislocation has a strain field. That strain field interacts with the coherency strain field and forms a repulsive force by the Beach-Kohler equation. And they try to push the dislocation apart. You have a higher applied shear stress to make the dislocations, cut the particle, shear the particle, or looping. That is precipitation hardening, precipitation hardening. So this is how you get strain in most aluminum alloys and also in some specialized titanium alloys also. Now Dr. Siddaraju reminded me of a lower Cottrell lock. Lower Cottrell lock is a fantastic lock. In fact, in phase transformation of physical machinery, there are 6 locks. First lock is the lower Cottrell lock. So what happens is, I draw a figure. Just like I use your plot and it's okay, we manage. If you have slip plane, the intersecting slip plane and hammer slip plane is 111 in aluminum. 111 is a Miller indices of a slip plane in aluminum. And what happens is, there are what are known as a unit dislocation. Unit dislocation is given by A by 2, 1/10. A by 2, 1/10. That's a unit dislocation. But the unit dislocations don't exist. They separate themselves into partials. They're called Shockley partials. Shockley partials, partial dislocations given by A by 6, 112 bar. 112 bar or 2 bar 11 or whatever. So those are Shockley partials. Burgers vector. It's called the Burgers vector. Burgers vector of a dislocation. Now what happens when Shockley partials interact with the split of Shockley partials tied by a ribbon of stacking pole, and the leading partial interacts with the other unit dislocation on a partial and forms what is known as a stay rod. Stay rod, like for example, in the old house, in England or anywhere, if you go to the old houses, they used to have a carpet with a rod. I don't know if you see. That's a stay rod. That's what happens. The stay rod is formed at the intersection, making the dislocation sessile. There are 2 types of dislocations. One is gracile and sessile. Sessile means it can't move. Gracile means it can move. It forms the sessile dislocation. That forms the lock. You can't. Whatever stress you apply, can't move the dislocation. Can't move the dislocation. Thank you. Whatever applied shear stress you have, can't move the dislocation. So that's the lower Cottrell lock. Why is it called lower Cottrell lock? Those are the guys who suggested this theoretically long back. Professor Lower in England, Professor Cottrell, I don't know if you've heard of Professor Cottrell, he passed away recently at the age of 85 in England. He was highlighted by the Queen of England. He was Sir Alan Cottrell. So that's the lower Cottrell lock. The next lock, which I want to talk, is on Cottrell atmosphere. The Cottrell atmosphere is, for example, Cottrell atmosphere is, for example, in mild steels, for example, we have carbon as an alloy element, iron carbon. Alloys are called steels. So carbon atoms are very small compared to iron atoms. For example, if you have a dislocation in iron, carbon diffuses to the core. For example, if you have edge dislocation, the core carbon atoms sit there because it produces edge dislocation. This is extra row column of atoms, and that you have a tensile stress, a compressive stress on the top, a tensile stress at the bottom, below the slit plate. The carbon atoms sit in the core of the dislocation, lots of the dislocation. That's why you have the in-point phenomena in steels. It's called the Cochrane atmosphere. Cochrane will be where the first people to talk about that long back on this. That's why you should read very old papers because they talk about the fundamentals more in the old papers, 70s, 60s and 80s. So Cochrane and Bilby model is that carbon atoms lock the dislocation. That's the problem. That's why there is an yield point, upper yield point and lower yield point. You must have seen in steels. Steels, if you plot stress sigma, which is epsilon, you have an upper yield point and low acceleration, like that. The curve goes like that. Serrations are also very interesting. Once again, due to Cochrane atmosphere, what happens is it gets locked from the core, carbon atoms, and carbon atoms diffuse out, the dislocation can glide, and then once again carbon atoms diffuse back inside the core and lock it up. That's how you get the serrations on the stress strain curve. Okay, next one. Then I would like to talk about Suzuki interaction. Suzuki was once again a trace atom sits near the dislocation, locks it. That's a Suzuki interaction. And doctor had asked me to talk about Navarro stress function. In fact, when I was in PESET, myself and my student, we worked on Pearl's Navarro stress in iron, gamma and alpha iron. I published a paper also. Pearl stress. Pearl stress is called the lattice friction stress. Friction stress. That's basically the stress needed to move a dislocation. Then first it has to move. How does it move? How does it move is you have breaking and unbreaking of bonds in the crystal. So that's Navarro stress. First Navarro stress is how a dislocation moves. For example, this dislocation, there are bonds. You shift the bonds. You break this bond and make the bond. That's First Navarro stress. Frank's rule is a Burgers vector. A dislocation, for example, this edge itself. This has got a Burgers vector V1, for example. The Frank's rule says that the energy of the dislocation is given by alpha GB square. Alpha GB square. G is a shear modulus and B is a Burgers vector. GB square. Now, if you one thing I would like to tell you, in thermodynamics, whatever happens in nature, the free energy has to decrease, or the natural phenomena will not take place. In England, that's what my professor, my guru, at Drexel used to point out, Roger Doherty, that there was a thesis in England at University of Sussex that bird migration is due to decrease in free energy. Bird migration. But that's the basic tenet. The tenet is the energy has to decrease. Gv square is the energy. So, if you try to reduce the Burgers vector, then then that is fine. That's why a unit dislocation splits up into partials. This is a reverse tracking fault. So GB square is the front group. The energy reduces. Energy reduces during dissociation of the dislocation into partials. Okay? That's all. That's one rule. Schmidt's law is once again in a tensile test. You have the slip plate inclined at an angle with tensile axis, and the slip direction. For example, in FCC, it is 1, 1, 1, 1 maneuver. That's the slip system. There are 12 systems in FCC. And at that angle, you can get a shear stress resolved on the slip plate that which is given by a tau given by tau is equal to some unit sigma and cos lambda cos theta. Yeah. And those are the angles the tensile axis makes to the slip plate and the slip direction. When it increases above the critical resolved shear stress, every crystal has got what known as a critical resolved shear stress. When the applied shear stress by a projection, it increases above the critical resolved shear stress, the slip takes place. What is slip? Slip is nothing but motion of dislocation. Motion of dislocations is slip. Plastic deformation. When you roll, extrude, or whatever, slip profusely takes place. Next, Navarro area, I will not talk about that. GP zones. GP zones I talked about in the precipitation sequence. And recovery relaxation brain growth, I can talk for hours together, but I'll cut it short by saying that, this is my PhD research topic. Recovery relaxation brain growth. I worked on relaxation texts with Roger. So, long back, 40 years ago, recovery is nothing but formation of cells, polygonization, as Robert Kahn put it. Robert Kahn was a great guy in phase transformation and physical metallurgy in England. He talked about what is known as polygonization. That is PhD thesis. He was the first guy to invent polygonization. That's recovery, formation of cells, subgrades in the deformed state. Recrystallization is motion of angle grain boundaries. For example, the nucleation and growth. Nuclei form near the grain boundaries. Some grains with a size advantage become the recrystallization nucleus. They grow with an angle grain boundary. Because the mobility of angle grain boundary is higher than the mobility of a low angle grain boundary, like I said, some grain wall. But that's recrystallization, as I understand it. Grain growth, price is not the audience, people appreciate it. Grain growth is nothing but grains coarsening. Grain coarsening. I compare it with social Darwinism. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. That's social Darwinism. That's grain growth, or even Oswald ripening. If I really forgot to add Oswald ripening. Oswald ripening is also a phenomenon in phase transformations. What happens is when you have two precipitates, a big precipitate and a small precipitate, right, close by. precipitation dissolves. There is a flux of atoms with a big particle, big precipitate. The small will die, shrink and die, the bigger one will expand. That can be applied to economics also. How big companies follow small companies in Kenya. Like that. In social Darwinism. Darwin's theory applied socially. So that's interesting. The bigger ones grow at the expense of the smaller ones, or the richer get richer, and the poorer get poorer, shrink and die. That's social Darwin. That's brain growth. That's brain growth. I think it's time everyone must be having to eat something. I just want to introduce that. Yeah, of course, if you give me a chance, I'll talk about each one of them separately. Next slide. Oh, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity.
Any questions from the audience?
You can ask me any question you want. Oh, yes. Oh.
Ranganatha can ask.
You can ask me any questions, sir. Any next is given, let it fit transformation.
Is the phenomena observed in copper life?
Yes. What's the phenomenon?
This copper IPM.
Yes, copper oxide. Copper oxide. That folds up in copper alloys. Basically, unfurling is the problem.
Particularly in the pressurized gating system,
Yes,
this phenomenon.
because of turbulence in pressurized system. 1:4:4 is a classic pressurized system. And what happens? The ratio should expand. Then the turbulence, the fluid flow is laminar or turbulent. If you have a Reynolds number of 2,400, below 2,400 is laminar. When you have Reynolds number greater than 2,400, it's turbulent flow. When you have turbulent flow, there are a lot of eddy currents in the flow. That forms oxides. Yeah.
So you did mention that in your father's foundry,
Yes.
they had figured out non-pressurized.
No. Oh, one more thing I want to tell you is you can use inverted horn gates. I'll probably give a sketch of that. Like an ox horn. Yeah. An inverted horn gate. The gate. Oh, sorry. Like this. Inverted horn gate. The metal passes through this and ever expanding. That reduces turbulence. In aluminum bronze in my father's factory, aluminum bronze, we used to have a lot of inverted horn gates to reduce porosity and other cavities.
So my question was, they had figured out that system before even knowing about bifilms.
Of course.
That's what I was trying to say.
Oh yeah. Bifilms were not known, or they were not known 10, 15 years ago. Before that, nobody had an idea. But they
But they had figured out the process too.
practices.
Yeah.
But John Campbell laid the foundation of a new technology of bifilms in his classic work. Yes, next
Any other
slide, please.
questions? Students?
Then that's very interesting.
In this slide, I wanted to ask question.
Oh, definitely.
One question is, here you can see that zero strength where there is a void,
Yes, big one.
big void. And
Yes.
first slide is where the uniform material is.
Yes, yes.
So if the bifilms are present, we mean that it is 50% of the strength is there? Or
No. See, it depends on the bifilm density.
Okay. What is
If density goes up, the quantity drop further.
what is
Yeah, they drop
can
further.
go below 50?
Oh, of course. Of
And
course.
bifilms are not introduced, inherent in the bifilm.
No, if you have a pressurized system, bifilms get introduced in the gating system. when you make a mold, you have a gate. And you have a screw, a runner, and an in gate. So when turbulence is there, it forms battery.
It forms.
It forms battery. They get entrapped in the casting.
So,
Properties will drop.
so properties will be dropping by means of
Yes.
So strength is reduced.
Of course.
So to avoid
How to avoid? Reduce turbulence.
reduce
Reduce turbulence.
so
So you use unpressurized system or inverted horn gates.
inverted, that's what.
That's what I put. But he pointed a very interesting fact that a lot of stuff was known before the knowledge of bifilms. Yes, I agree with you.
Any questions? If there are no questions.
Excuse me, sir.
Oh yes,
But due to this bifilming,
yes.
the cracks and
They form crack. Unfurling. Oh yeah.
flowers will form in a casting. We used to do it, overcome that. We used to do this aluminum oxide, we have to pulverize it at some 4 bar or 5 bar. Then that bifilming, what are the cracks and everything used to sit out.
And what did you do?
We used to use the aluminum oxide solution.
I understand.
You are introducing aluminum oxide in solution form or
No, not aluminum, maybe some the chemical name I forgot. We used to do it 20-25 years back. That is 4 or 5 bar. We used to pressurize that solution. So these cracks and everything used to close.
I never heard of it. Sorry, I never heard of that.
so for degassing what?
Degassing is a
Nitrogen.
Degassing is passing argon or chlorine. Chlorine into aluminum reduces, removes all the gas. That's what I told. The reduced pressure test. The gas velocity gets reduced by making argon gas or chlorine into aluminum in the ladle. Before you pour, you degas and pour. But now, of course, there are chemical people out here. There's degassers. We used to have degassers also. A blue tablet, which we actually used to dry on the furnace to remove the moisture and put it, plunge it with an inverted bell plunger with a lot of holes, and then plunge it into aluminum and reduce the gas level. Yeah.
So we can interact during the dinner, and we have 2 more events. So I want Madam to tell something related to this for a few minutes.
Of course, I will come back.
Madam has done some YouTube videos also. Please speak.
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇರಿರುವಂತ ಬೇಡ, ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾಡು.
ಹಾಗೆ
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇರಿರುವಂತ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನನ್ನ ಸಾಷ್ಟಾಂಗ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನಾನು ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯನ್ನ ಸುಮಾರು 5 ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಕಲ್ತಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಯಾಕೆ ಬೇಕು ನಮ್ಮ ಲೈಫಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ. ಮೊದಲನೇದಾಗಿ ಮನೆಗೊಂದು ವಾಷಿಂಗ್ ಮಿಷಿನ್ ತರ್ತೀವಿ ಅಥವಾ ಟಿವಿ ತರ್ತೀವಿ, ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಒಂದು ಮ್ಯಾನ್ಯುಯಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾನೆ ಅವನು. ಯಾವ ಸ್ವಿಚ್ ಹೇಗೆ ನೀನು ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಹೇಗೆ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಹೇಗೆ ನೋಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಲೈಫನ್ನ ಸರಿಯಾದ ದಾರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಲೈಫಿನ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ಯುಯಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ದಾರಿ ದೀಪ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದನ್ನ ನನ್ನ ಲೈಫಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಕಂಡುಕೊಂಡಿರೋ ಅಂಥದ್ದು. ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ನಾನು 4 ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಅನ್ನೋ ಉದ್ದೇಶದಿಂದ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದೆ. 5ನೇ ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲಿತಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಂದ ಅಪ್ರಿಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಸಿಕ್ತು ನನಗೆ. ಓ, ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಹುಡುಗಿ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾಳೆ. ನಂತರದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದ್ರೂ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಸಿಗಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರುವಾಯ್ತು. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಇದೆ, ನನ್ಗೆ ಹೋದ್ ಕಡೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇದನ್ನ ಕಲಿತಾಗ ನನಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಖುಷಿ ಸಿಗತ್ತೆ, ಇದಾದಾಗ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತು. ಕಲಿತಾ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ಬರೀ ಶ್ಲೋಕವನ್ನೇ ಮೊದಲು ನಾನು ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದು. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ 2ನೇ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯದ ಕಡೆಯ 19 ಶ್ಲೋಕಗಳು ತುಂಬಾ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಅರ್ಜುನ ಕೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಯಾರನ್ನ, ಭಗವಂತನ, ಏನಪ್ಪ ನೀನು ಅಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಥಿತಪ್ರಜ್ಞನಾಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ. ಸ್ಥಿತಪ್ರಜ್ಞಸ್ಯ ಕಾ ಭಾಷಾ ಸಮಾಧಿಸ್ತಸ್ಯ ಕೇಶವ ಸ್ಥಿತದಿಹಿ ಕಿಂ ಪ್ರಭಾತೇಶ ಕಿಮಾಸೀತ ವ್ರಜೇತ ಕಿಂ. ಅವ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೋತಾನೆ, ಹೇಗೆ ನಿಂತ್ಕೋತಾನೆ, ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ನಂತರದಲ್ಲಿ 18 ಶ್ಲೋಕಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಸ್ಥಿತಪ್ರಜ್ಞನಾದವನು ದುಃಖೇಶ್ವನುದ್ವಿಗ್ನಮನಃ ಸುಖೇಶ ವಿತ್ತಸ್ಪೃಹಃ ವೀತರಾಗ ಭಯಕ್ರೋಧ ಸ್ಥಿತಧೀರ್ ಮುನಿರುಚ್ಯತೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದುಃಖ ಬಂದಾಗ ನೀನು ಕುಸ್ದು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಡ, ಮತ್ತು ಸಂತೋಷ ಬಂದಾಗ ಹುಚ್ಚುಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ಕುಣಿದಾಡ್ಬೇಡ ಅನ್ನುವಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅಡಗಿದೆ. ಅದು ನನ್ಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಇವತ್ತಿನವರೆಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನಂಗೆ ಏನೇ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ದಾಗ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಆ ಶ್ಲೋಕ ನನ್ನ ತಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಷ್ಟು ದಿವಸ ನಾನು ಅದು ಓದಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಂಗೆ ಅದು ತಕ್ಷಣ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ತಲೆ. ಇನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುವಂತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸಂಸಾರಸ್ಥರಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇವರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಹೇಳೋದು ಕರ್ಮಯೋಗ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್. ಕರ್ಮಣ್ಯವಾಧಿಕಾರಸ್ಥೆ ಮಾ ಫಲೇಶು ಕದಾಚನ ಮಾ ಕರ್ಮ ಫಲ ಹೇತುರ್ಭೂ ಮಾತೆ ಸಂಗೋಷ್ಟು ಕರ್ಮಣಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಭಗವಂತ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಕರ್ಮ ಮಾಡುವುದಷ್ಟೇ ನಿನಗೆ ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಅದರ ಪ್ರತಿಫಲ ನೀನೇನು ಅಪೇಕ್ಷೆ ಪಡಬೇಡ. ಇವತ್ತು ಒಂದು ವಾರದಿಂದ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಯಜಮಾನರು ತುಂಬಾನೇ ಎಕ್ಸೈಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರು. ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ ಸೇರಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ನಾನು ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅನಿಸ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಕಟ್ ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಂದ್ರು ನನ್ನ ಕೈಲಿ. ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ ಬಂದಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಪ್ರತಿಫಲ ಅಪೇಕ್ಷೆ. ನಾನು ಇಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಇಷ್ಟು ಒಂದ್ ವಾರದಿಂದ ನಾನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ ಬಂದು ಕೇಳಲಿ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಪ್ರತಿಫಲ ಅಪೇಕ್ಷೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ದೇನೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅನ್ಸತ್ತೆ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಷಣಕ್ಕೆ, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ನಾನು ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಕಷ್ಟಪಟ್ರು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಂತಹ ಪ್ರತಿಫಲ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಆಗ ಕರ್ಮ ಮಾಡುವುದಕ್ಕಷ್ಟೇ ನಮಗೆ ಅಧಿಕಾರ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರತಿಫಲಕ್ಕೆ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದನ್ನ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಏನಿಸುತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ, ಹೌದು ಇಷ್ಟೇ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವಂತದ್ದು, ಇಷ್ಟು ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಎಷ್ಟೇ ನಾವು ಕಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರತಿಫಲ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇಷ್ಟೇನೆ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಲೈಫ್ ಈಸಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ನನಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳೋಕ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆ ಅಂತ ನನ್ನ ಕೈ ಮೈಕ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ನಾನು 1.5 hour ಮಾತಾಡಬಲ್ಲೆ. ಬಟ್ ಈ ಗ್ಯಾದರಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಸಾಕು. ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಮೇಡಮ್. ಸರ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಮನೆ ವಿಸಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಅವ್ರ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಗ್ಯಾಲಕ್ಸಿ ಆಫ್ ನಾಲೆಡ್ಜ್. ಸರ್ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಸೈಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮೆಟಲರ್ಜಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಮೇಡಮ್ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಮಗಳು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಮಗಳು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಜರ್ನಲಿಸಮ್. ಸೊ ಟೂರಿಸಂ ಜರ್ನಲಿಸಮ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಮ್ ಜ್ಞಾನಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಏನು ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಪ್ಯಾರಲಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡೆಕನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನು ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಗೋ ಥ್ರೂ ದಟ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಅಟ್ ದ ಎಂಡ್ ಐ ವುಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಟು ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಜನ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದ್ರು ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಅಂತವ್ರು ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಮೆನಿ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ನಾವೇ ಈಗ ಸರ್ದನ್ನ 2002 we had observed sir's knowledge. So same way there are many youngsters who will get back to us, and we have dynamic young teachers also. Mr. Dr. Nagaraj anta, he is from Acharya Institute. Definitely will carry forward and he will be able to arrange some more talks in his college. And many have captured the photo. Mallikarjun brother from Dayanand Sagar College. So all topics are registered in their mind. So one or the other day definitely will get a call for the lecture where sir will be able to speak in front of many students, more than 100 students, or with other faculties also. With this we are winding up, sir. So we are at the end of the session with the vote of thanks. We would like to thank our past chairman Ranganatha sir. He is right now in Rapture Industries. In spite of his busy schedule, sir is here. Thankful to you, sir. As I mentioned earlier, research guru is Kasyap sir, whereas teaching guru is Ranganatha sir. Almost from 25 years, I have been following his footsteps. And in research, sir from 20 years. Thank you for both the teachers who are my gurus over here. Thank you, sir. And also I would like to thank Kasyap sir. He has dedicated his whole life for research. Completely nothing else. No politics, no other entertainment. Whatever he speaks in the terms of social Darwinism or lower quadrant. That's what I told. All topics what I have discussed with sir. He has dedicated and he has read lot of books. We have never seen professor in private colleges working with this type sort of knowledge, and is almost competent and is there with competent with IISc and any of the foreign professor. Recently I had we had a ceramic society one talk, University of Clemson. In no way less our professor has delivered his talk. Thank you very much, sir, for being here and presenting. And one more, thank you, sir. And also I would like to thank Madam for Karmanya Vadikaraste. Even many times I have felt we would be expecting many things, but definitely with your words we will follow that. And thank you very much, Madam. And we may call you for some lecture in the next few years. And thanks for all the family members of Kasyap sir. And also for, you might be knowing TV serial artist Shalini Madam's father is also here. Thank you sir for being present, Atri sir and sir, forgot your names. Arun sir is here. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for all. And Srinivas sir, you will be present for all the talks. He is an exact foundry member. Sir will be present. He is a very senior member and from ex-craftsman. He will be present for all our talks. Thank you very much, sir. I would like to thank our Gowrish sir who has travelled almost 2 hours journey from his company. He is a present secretary. And Manjunatha sir, thank you Gowrish sir. And I would like to thank our chairman, Manjunatha sir, who will be most of the times travelling, but in spite of that, he looks over today also he wanted one event to be conducted. We don't want to leave one event of this month. So with this encouragement and support, we are conducting many events in for IIF, and we will be encouraging all the events and whatever the initiatives what we are taking. That's how Nagaraj is here. Now this is the first lecture from Bangalore chapter, which will be uploaded in the YouTube for in the name of IIF. Thank you, Nagaraj sir, for this initiative. And with the 1 week, I have seen sir has been preparing slide, though like a Sachin Tendulkar is a master batsman. His practice was going on from 1 week with the help of Shiv Kumar.
Oh, yes.
Shiv Kumar used to visit sir's home and add his photos, everything by Shiv Kumar.
Yes.
And thanks all the students and photography by one of the MSRIT team. Thank you one and all for your gracious presence. Please enjoy the food. Meanwhile, you can discuss with sir. Sir will give many inputs. Please wait. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So shall we have a group photo?
Please sir. Please sir.
Yeah.
Madam.